So this just happened. Let's go inside and I'll tell you exactly what's happened and why it's happening. Let's go back into our home of the next 4 weeks and that's it. Then it's bye-bye. So, want to hear a crazy story? We're not just moving out of our house. We're not just moving out of our neighborhood. We're not just moving out of Calgary. We're moving back to Europe. Buckle up, my friends, because there is a lot to unpack in this video. And yeah, grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's begin from the very beginning. We moved to Calgary in December 2017, thinking that this will be our forever home, or at least for the foreseeable future. We were very excited. We love our home. We love this house. We've been renovating it the whole of last year, and then pandemic happened and a whole mindset changed about where we want to be. I wanted to tell you how it all started in our heads. So beginning of last year, we started with our house renovations. We wanted to remodel our whole kitchen, and we had a contractor come and take a look in January, February time. We had everything set up. We had our plans. We were remodeling the whole thing, redesigning the whole thing. We were ripping out walls and all that stuff. And we truly began beginning of March. And then on March 16th, I think, we were all told to stay home. There would be no school due to the ongoing pandemic. And I will tag the video because it wasn't an easy process to renovate the whole kitchen during the pandemic with all the delays and everything. And you can see where we were halfway, I think, or almost done. In May last year, we had the whole kitchen completed in June. And in the meantime, Ollie had changed teams in his company. So he's a software engineer who worked for an international company. That's how we found ourselves here. He asked to be relocated and they let us. So he had changed teams around May time last year, and part of his team was based in Switzerland. And he asked his new boss if there could be anything done for him and his family to be relocated to Switzerland. And the boss said yes. So from about June, July time, they were in talks to see if that would be even possible during the pandemic. And early August, we got a confirmation. It's good. We are expecting you guys in Switzerland. But we had a problem. We have this house that we needed to sell. And we put the house on the market in September, mid-September last year. And we had a bunch of visits, not too many. We had visits. And from September to December, we've had visits, but 0 offers. We were very excited at the beginning. I was very excited about moving to Switzerland. Switzerland is one of the most beautiful countries. Yes, it's expensive, but if you work here, if you have a stable income, you should be okay. So we started telling our friends. In the meantime, our best friends here in Calgary had to move back to France. They're both French and they had to move to France due to health concerns, very serious health concerns. So they completely moved, and we've lost our friends. So we started feeling so lonely. We were very anxious to move, very excited about the sale of the house. I started working beginning of January last year. I had a job in Canmore as a social media manager, and I had to quit in September because we knew that we would be moving, and I wanted to be, that rock for Ollie, to know that the kids are fine and that the house is ready for the viewings, for visits during the house sale. So all I did at that time was keeping the house clean and ready for the visits and making sure that the kids weren't too stressed, and they were absolutely fine. Us, on the other hand, we started getting more and more stressed towards October, November time. and beginning of December. We kept showing the house and it just wasn't going anywhere. In the meantime, Ollie's company was trying to find out when he would be relocating, because it's such a big company and it's like a big, huge machine that needs to be started for the whole process to happen. So we needed to give them a big notice. And we were hoping we would be moving in December or January this year. It just didn't look good. So around Christmas time, we thought we're gonna pull the house off the market, just have a nice quiet Christmas and restart again whenever, like January, February time. January is quite quiet, probably February. And just a few days before we were going to do that, officially take the house off the market and just have a quiet Christmas, we had a major flooding in the house. Just outside the house, in our front yard, there's a big water pipe that burst and flooded 2 rooms in our basement. It was very stressful. It was just a couple of days before Christmas. We have this big, huge plumbing team digging things out in our front yard to get to that pipe, get it out, fix it, replace it with a brand new pipe. And it was a good thing that we took the house off the market, because there's just no way we would be showing it to anybody like this. Nobody would buy it in that state. And it took us over 10 grand to fix that, which was very, very intense. Luckily, the insurance covered most of it. It's not just the outside that we needed to repair. Now the effects of the flood in the basement needed to be fixed. We literally had to fix half walls and the flooring downstairs. Not us, our lovely contractor. And he's done such a great job, and we decided to even change wooden floors that we had in the bedroom downstairs for carpet flooring to keep it nice and cozy. And it took us end of December till mid-February to get everything back to normal. And it was just such a stressful time. I feel like it was a stressful time since probably August, when we started telling our friends that we were moving and started putting the house on the market and everything. Honestly, I will have a PTSD for sure after this whole sales process. It was very, very stressful, especially having visits for September, October, November, December, 4 months, and not having one offer, having to get the kids out of the house, having to keep the house clean with the children who are into coloring and cutting paper and all that stuff, toys everywhere. Like, any parent who's been through this understands how so stressful it is. So we get the house ready to put it back on the market end of February. Within the first weekend of showing our house, we had more visits than we had September to December. It was back-to-back visits. The housing market completely switched in Calgary. So whatever was happening at the end of last year, it was buyer's market, now it's seller's market. So there is very little inventory. I'm just using all the real estate terms that I've learned. Inventory on the market available right now. And so people are trying to see what is out there and try and snatch it as quickly as possible, because there is not much going on, especially if it's a brand new house on the market. People are like, wow, we need to see it. So we have so many visits, and we have to be out of the house. Luckily, the weather started getting better, so we get to spend a lot of time outside. And within 2 days, we get an offer, a decent offer, that we go back and forth with people who want to buy the house, and we agree on the price and the conditions. The problem is they have not seen the house. The realtor did a virtual tour for them of the house, which, I don't know, during normal times it would have been weird for me, but during COVID I thought, maybe people are very, very cautious about visiting other people's houses with realtors in the house. They were from out of town, they were from Saskatchewan, So we thought, you know, they have seen the house. They probably know what it looks like. It's fine. And there are a few conditions that the buyers and the sellers have to waive before the sale is complete. So the buyer has to come with an inspector and like a third party who knows things about the structure of the house and different things around the house to make sure that everything is up to standard, everything is fine. And also the buyer needs to prove that they have sufficient funds to buy this property. They are coming with the inspector on the weekend when we went away to Banff to spend the whole weekend there. And as we get ready, they are just outside the house. They were like an hour early. We were like, oh, that's probably the realtor. So we invite the realtor inside. Turns out it's the buyer who hasn't seen the house. And it's just really strange because they were from out of country as well, not just out of town, out of country. They didn't speak very good English. Ollie's trying to show them around the house because we offered, they agreed. So Ollie's showing them around the house, and it's a mum and her grown-up son. And they're walking around, they're looking around. Everything seems okay. Then the realtor and the inspector show up, so we leave them. That was on Saturday. We're waiting for the results of the inspection and to see if they waive their conditions. The house is in a great state. We have renovated everything, and our contractor is also our realtor. So thanks, Matt, for all the hard work that you've done around the house. So he knows that the house is in a great condition and nothing will be wrong with it. And obviously the inspector finds little things here and there, like at every inspection. For example, the furnace is a little bit old, like at the end of its life, and maybe the hot water tank and things like that. But on Monday, we receive an email from the buyer saying that they are not waiving the conditions. The conditions are too severe for them. They are not going ahead with the sale. Ollie and I were absolutely shocked, but also not really, because we had a feeling that they came on that day, they saw the house, and maybe they could change their mind because they made an offer before they had seen the house, which was really silly of them, I think. But anyway, moving on, we were like, just brush it off, let's go again, because our realtor was also telling us that there was so much interest in the house. When we were conditionally sold, lots of realtors called Matt and asked to see the house, and Matt was like, well, you know what, the family, they have small children, they don't really want to have people in the house because the sale, hopefully, fingers crossed, is going ahead. And as soon as that was revealed that they were not going ahead, Matt put the house back on the market straight away. We had people that wanted to see the house in the meantime, came to see the house, and I believe the first or the second couple that came to see the house made an offer within the first 3 days. And that's why I'm making this video, because we're finally ready to reveal that the house has been sold and we're actually moving. But we're not moving to Switzerland. Back in December, Ollie had been approached by a startup full of brilliant people, really, really bright team. And that's something Ollie enjoys doing. And they offered him a job, and he had accepted the job, and he had started working there in January, mid-January. They don't mind where he works from. The only thing they couldn't do is Switzerland. I was so devastated. I was so set on Switzerland. I felt like what I do now, my social media presence, my Instagram, my YouTube, would seamlessly move onto exploring Switzerland. I was just so excited, you know, like the mountains and the lakes, and it's just very similar to this situation. A lot of people speak English there. It's quite metropolitan. I was so excited, but the new company said unfortunately they won't be able to have him in Switzerland. So we needed to decide what we wanted to do. We could stay here. We have this beautiful home. Our children go to school. We found some friends. We like it here. But again, due to the pandemic, it just started getting to us how far we are from our families and that we don't see them. Before the pandemic, Ollie's mom came here. We traveled to France. It was a lot easier to see them and stay in touch. Have my mom on the phone, have my mom fly over to France and spend some time with us. And right now it's impossible. We haven't seen my mom in almost 2 years. Same for Ollie's family. We had seen his mom, she came over September 2019, and she was going to come May last year, but obviously due to the spreading virus, no one could come anywhere. We just really miss them. We see that the kids don't have a lot of connection with the family. They just see them on FaceTime, say hello, and just walk away. There's not much conversation going on. So we decided to go ahead with moving, but we didn't need to decide where we wanted to move. And we had two options, either going to England or going to France. Going to England, as weird as it sounds, seemed to us like going backwards. We have lots of friends there. We know a lot of things. We would have had a great life in England, but we've decided to go to France, to be closer to the family, to have my mom travel easier, because France is still part of the EU. My mom wouldn't need a visa to come see us, whereas in England she would have to apply for a visa to come and stay with us for a little bit. So we decided to go to France, which will be great for the 3 members of my family. 2 members of our family go to French-speaking school and French-speaking school only. And Ollie is French, and I don't really speak French. I can say some things, I can ask a question, I won't necessarily understand the answer to that question. So I started watching French movies, listened to French podcasts, and I'm really struggling. I know it's gonna be a very difficult thing for me to overcome. I'm also quite positive because I have gone through something like that before with English, and I don't mean to sound cocky, but I think my English is pretty good, and I'm hoping maybe I will get to a certain level of at least having a simple conversation in French. I am very stressed about it, and I don't see how I can improve it without making Ollie speak to me all the time in French, and he is so busy with the new job now and with the relocation that when we do see each other, it's all just like a few sentences here and there in English, and he's going back to work. So now that the sale of the house is confirmed, we're very excited but also very stressed, because now we have to move still during the pandemic. And it's changed dramatically since like last September when we were looking into it. At the end of January, France closed its borders, even to the French nationals and their families, which is what we are. Ollie's French national and we're his family. Ollie was in touch with the French consulate on the French embassy in Vancouver. There's no French consulate in Alberta apparently. So he's been in touch with them, explaining our situation, that we are selling our house, we're taking the kids out of school. What are we going to do if we can't move to France and the borders are closed for him as a French national? Luckily, the lady that spoke to him at the embassy was really understanding and really lovely, and said French nationals can go to France under certain circumstances, and our circumstances qualify for that, so he will have to provide a lot of documents. But I think since then the French border is kind of open to the French nationals a bit more. But now that I'm filming this, I don't know when I'm posting this, hopefully soon, now Paris and some northern regions are in lockdown. was announced yesterday. So annoying, back and forth all the time, but what you're gonna do? We should be able to move straight away. If we hadn't been able to move straight away, we were considering either staying at some Airbnb in Vancouver and exploring a bit of Vancouver, or Montreal and flying out of Montreal straight away to Paris when we can. But also, we didn't think it would be a very good idea to take the kids out of school, to move to, let's say, Montreal and stay there for 2-3 weeks, maybe a month, however long it takes for France to reopen borders, at least for us. Ollie would still be working and he would still be very busy, and I would be on my own in the city that I don't know, without a car, without anything, wearing masks, on public transport with the kids. The kids are quite unruly right now, 6 and 3, so they are trying to push the boundaries. And I wouldn't feel very comfortable on my own going around Montreal with 2 kids whilst wearing a mask. I find it really difficult. I don't know if any other parents find it the same way. When you have a mask and you have 2 kids and you don't see them because the mask is restricting, I find it very difficult to look after my kids at a grocery store when they're running around, let alone in some city that I don't know. So we thought, you know, on one hand it would be really nice to explore a bit more of Canada because we haven't seen much outside of Alberta. But on another hand, it's probably not the right time to go exploring places far away from home during all this virus spreading situation. So what we want to do, the plan is moving out of here on April 14th, out of the house, and then maybe getting a night or 2 in a hotel or at an Airbnb, probably in a hotel closer to the airport. So once we know that everything is fine with the house, people have moved in, we have everything processed, like the paperwork for the house sale is done, we will get flexible flight tickets for the whole family. We also need to do a COVID test, in some special laboratory, 3 days, within 3 days of our flight, so we'll do that. Then if we manage to fly to France, when we get there, we can't just go to Ollie's mom's house in Normandy. We will have to self-isolate for a week, then do another compulsory COVID test, and then we'll be able to stay with Ollie's mum, maybe leave the girls with her whilst Ollie and I look for a place to rent. I can't tell you exactly where we're going to be living in France because it's kind of up in the air still, but we have a few ideas and it's going to be very exciting if everything goes through the way we want it. We'll just go, just the 2 of us, try and find a place to rent, then come back, get the kids, pack up and move to a new home. So that's it. I know it's a lot. I hope I didn't forget anything because it's been so stressful and it's been so up in the air this whole time since, I want to say, August. We have been renovating this house for us, and then we were updating the rest of the house knowing that we would be moving. We were 100% sure we'd be moving to Switzerland in December or January time. And the whole plan just went upside down. Hopefully now it's the right side up. That's how we see it. For now, I know I'm gonna be in trouble in France, but hopefully where we go in, there's gonna be quite a few expats, immigrants from England, from the US, maybe Canada. So I'll try and find some new friends, maybe learn a bit more French with them. But yeah, I'll have to put myself out there. But at the moment, I'm quite worried about the level of my French. I just don't practice enough. Whatever I'm learning now, it's not enough to use in proper conversations. And I'm just hoping eventually it will come. Again, just like with Canada, I'm going there without a job. So I'm hoping to continue this thing going. So I'd appreciate it if you stuck around and engaged with my content here and on Instagram. And then we'll see. I have all my photography, videography gear. Maybe I'll find something in that industry. If not, we'll see what the situation is like. I don't think I'm in a position to go out and start looking for a job until at least the kids are in their new French school and we understand a bit more what our day-to-day life is like, and after that I'll start looking for a job there. I know it's a bit of a shock. No, it's a huge shock what I'm saying to you guys right now, and it's actually quite funny because I had a few comments recently on Instagram and here saying, I have a feeling that you're not staying here, even though I have not said anything anywhere on social media. So that's quite weird to me. Maybe that's just how my family comes across, you know, like, oh, they're moving again. And yes, they are moving again. I really appreciate you tuning in for this video. I know it's a big shock. I know we don't have much time left in Canada, and that's why you've been watching my channel for this Canadian content. Again, I'd appreciate it if you stayed with this channel to see what we're gonna be up to when we move to France. In my next video, which I have already filmed, I will show you around the house, like all the renovations that we've done, what the house looks like now, what it used to look like. It's kind of crazy what a transformation it has been, and that it's quite sad to be leaving this home. But the new chapter calls us and we must go. Stay tuned for that video about the house renovations. I'll see you all then. Subscribe to this channel if you're new here, and I'll see you guys next time.